things off. Like this is as slim as it gets.
As soon as we get the music, it's coming.
Come on.
Are you ready?
You're the one that can hit record, so you know.
Seriously,
when
why are you asking
music
us
is
if
ready.
we're ready?
Oh, I hit record like a minute ago.
I know. That's why we're wondering why you did that
Stop.
when you don't have the thing ready.
I am
Yeah.
ready.
The wires, Jeff.
Yeah, you should
The
stop and
wires
start
are all
again.
here.
The wires, Jeff.
Fine. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and
And of
terrible
course-
internet connections this evening. It doesn't, whatever. It's a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car
Whatever.
culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Pentium fort you have running your computer. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA. We won't discriminate as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just the tip. We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
I'm mental.
We'll disappear.
Wow.
This is how it's
All
going
right.
to go.
Apparently. And we are Everyone Racers.
I literally didn't hear Jeff read the intro, and then the whole thing went like the Micro Machine Man, and I just barely got Chrissy. Yeah, so
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Hey, thanks for coming back
Zoom.
and listening to an Alfa Romeo episode of our podcast. Again, we're stuck in the alpha number range lately. So this is 158. Now, if you're weary of our Italian race car references, please indulge us. The Alfa 158 was powered by a supercharged straight 8, making almost 200 horsepower. One of the most successful racing cars ever produced, the 158 and its cousin, the 159, took 47 wins from 54 Grand Prix entered, including the first ever F1 World Championship race in 1950. Now, that's interesting is because that car was a 13-year-old design by that point, but it was in the hands of drivers such as Nino Farina, Luigi Fagioli. and
That's
of
not
course,
his
the great
name. Is that a name?
Fagioli, but I don't know how to say that.
No, I know.
Jewel.
I'm amazed and awesome.
Anyway, and the
Amazing.
great Juan Manuel Fangio, and these gentlemen all had spectacular mustaches. So that's why they
Fangio.
dominated.
Fangio is probably the greatest race car driver that not every human being in the world knows.
Sure.
Like
Who? Which one?
Fangio.
oh yeah,
Juan
no,
Miguel.
thank you. Yeah,
Manuel.
Yeah.
who was actually Argentinian and was so cool. He was kidnapped. by-
Argentinian.
Sorry. Yes, Argentinian. He was kidnapped by Cuban communists, and then after they talked to him for a couple of days, they just let him go, and then he kept being their buddies. He would write them letters.
Nice.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Get your bingo card out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's time for what you're working on. Even though, and I know most of the answer, Jeff, what are you working on?
We had a work weekend.
Yeah.
Holy cow, we had a work weekend, and we took a big
Worked.
old motor and we shoved it where it didn't belong, and then we went, yeah, you're going to fit, and we yanked it out again.
No. How many times did
It was well
paint measure come
lubricated
out?
while we shoved it, though.
Yeah.
So,
Here's a helpful tip, and then we'll go on. Are we covering this later, or should I just give it a sentence or two?
yeah,
here?
I think we just,
There
let's
is
do it now.
there is a question in listener feedback that wants to know the end state of how this works.
I think we
So
covered
don't
this.
give away the
This is
end.
what you're working on. This is actual race car stuff. This is
Right.
consumer advice. This is the spot we cover. This
So
is
I already
what's-
mentioned last week that I was bringing a truckload of parts, a Z, and a 4.8 liter LS3, right? It's a 3.
No,
It's a-
LS3 is much nicer. This is
Not
an
LS3, I'm sorry.
LR4.
an LR4, but it's third
You need
gen.
to brush
LS.
up on
Third
your.
gen.
It's third gen. That's what I meant. I meant it's a third
Yes.
gen LS. So anyway, so we had the most beautiful blingy oil pan. This thing was gorgeous. It was like, Chris, how awesome were the welds on this thing?
Beautiful.
They were beautiful. They were beautiful. We picked this
Were.
one because we thought this was going to be the one that fit. It didn't fit.
Like not a little bit.
So it was a rear sump, and the rear sump was twice as large as we needed it to be. So I'll let Chris say how we fixed it, but that oil pan difficulty made us pivot and do lots of other things on the car. So I'll say that we did battery reroute. We did a lot of interior removal. We did like lightning and things and kind of setting up for the kill switch and a bunch of stuff like that, because we were waiting for Chris to do what he was doing before we could shove it back in again. And I will say that it did travel from the stand to the engine compartment, so that we could do all the measuring and things. And so we have a much better plan now. We just had to kind of yank it out and continue.
Yeah. And it also traveled amazingly from your house to my house, barely attached to anything, like sitting on a plastic tote on a Harbor Freight engine stand, attached to a dolly with hopes and dreams and a ratchet strap. And
and?
I'm just saying. But did you die?
Did you die? No.
Almost did, though.
Did it almost fall on my leg?
Yes.
Yes. So engine stand has little steel wheels about this big, while an engine
2 inches, 3 inches.
Yeah, while an engine hoist has like 4 or 5 inch wheels. An engine stand is not really wide. It's kind of compact, so you can roll the engine around. They do not go up enclosed trailer doorway angles very well. So it went sideways, and it went over, and it nearly hit my leg. It hit my leg a little, I should say, but it didn't hit it hard enough to cause damage.
Good. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
What? Yeah, you did something else?
Did I? I mean, I pushed the car in and out and around and left and right.
Somebody went swimming, apparently.
Oh, we'll go back to that. I did, because on Monday I worked from home. So I would get on a Zoom meeting, then I'd run out to my pool and do some work, and then go do a Zoom meeting, and then run back to my pool and
I think you should have just done your Zoom meeting from the pool.
Well, I was trying to close the pool.
Yeah.
So when you close the pool, there's a lot of do 5 minutes of work, wait 2 hours. So there was nothing to do at the pool, although it was warm enough. So right in the middle of me like adding chemicals and wait when I was about to like turn on the pump to start emptying it, Josh was like, I want to go swimming one more time. And it was hot. So I was like, do it. So the
it
pool
was
is
so
still
gross
open.
on Monday.
It was disgusting. It is still hot here. I am sweating. Woo. Doesn't help that this is the shirt I've been wearing all day because we had a little protest on campus. But
ew.
Yeah.
What was funny is as soon as you did that, like there was a huge splash of water behind you.
I know.
Good timing.
I believe we were watching 2017 New Jersey NJMP, the rainiest, wettest race ever in our history.
I was assuming, where's the video from? It's not our video, no?
No, it is not. It's from the Junkernauts.
Someone's front bumper, which is
had
great.
a Contour SVT. So that is their video.
So it won't be a very long video then.
It's like a 20-minute video. So if you see something and you missed it,
just meant they're going to break.
Just wait 20 minutes. It'll come back around again.
Okay, good. Great. Fantastic.
Great.
Do we want to go right to Chris and you can explain why we had to wait?
Sure. Oil pan don't fit. It's mostly because we're trying to keep the transmission in the stock. We're using a stock transmission with an adapter plate to the engine. The transmission we're leaving the stock location, which has many benefits of leaving all the stock, where you use a stock drive shaft, stock shift linkage, stock mounts,
cop shocks, cop motor, cop power plant.
Well, stock instead of cop, but close enough. And all that's great. The problem is it does put the engine a little further forward than the ones that move, that have like a T56 and shove the whole thing back further, but that's too cheaty. We're trying to do this quote unquote the right way for our $150 motor. So we mounted it got it to the engine and looked at it and said, you know what? I ain't gonna fit. So, and you can't, it's the steering rack that's in the way. It's not like it's something simple. It's not like a cross member I can notch or something like that. No, it's the steering rack.
And it's important whenever you're doing this to have a redneck nearby. And since I was unavailable, they were forced to sub a redneck in. I ain't gonna fit. So.
Absolutely. And it wasn't. So we got the motor in place, did some more measurements, found that we had to take out about 2 inches out of the pan, the front sump of the pan, the front of the rear sump pan, really. So got some time with a Sharpie and rulers and whatnot and measured very carefully and drew some lines. And then Chrissy had to go to Lowe's and get some mini Dremel cutting discs. They had to deconstruct the oil pan very nicely, like the baffles and stuff that's in it. I want to ruin those, so I had to cut those out gently to be able to move them out of the way, to be able to slice and dice the oil pan and then weld it back together. So that's what we did.
All those beautiful welds.
I know. Sliced it up, moved the front back 2 inches, took the piece I'd taken out of the bottom, stuck it on the other side, welded that back together, and yeah, there we go.
I'm dropping a bunch of pictures into the shared drive, so we can share some if you'd like to.
Sure. Now, Chris, obviously you went about this really smart, as opposed to like somebody like me that would just go, cut it. So even after all that prep work, you did the tape, you did the Sharpie, you did it smart, the cardboard aided design, as we like to say. How apprehensive were you to make that first cut in that really sweet oil pan? On a scale of 0 to 5.
Like 2. It's like, I
okay,
got to do it.
All right.
I got to do it. We've got it.
Right, so
I've measured it carefully.
So the lesson is measure 3 times and then just do it. All right.
Yeah. And I did. And everything lined up pretty well. And the welds all went together pretty smoothly. I mean, my welds with a MIG in the driveway on a piece of cardboard are nowhere near the, factory TIG welds that they do with a thing clamped to a jig and super nice and pretty and clean. But a lot better than if we had ever put oil in it. So anyway, so now I've got to kind of clean up the welds a little bit and move the baffles back into place and weld those back into place. Double check that the pickup still fits between the baffles, and the pan will be done. Might even put some paint on it so that the all the crap that I welded doesn't immediately rust. So there's that.
How far we've come.
I know, right? So that was most of the time that I spent. I didn't get to do any wiring harness stuff because I was cutting oil pans and mopping up the Wakeman Valdez as it dropped every time we turned the motor
and over again.
It's amazing.
Thing just constantly found new oil to drop in the driveway.
It did. Also drilling out broken exhaust studs. We had 2 of those. One of them still has a bit of drill bit stuck in it, and I still have to do that one, but one of them's done. So that was great. Also winterized and put away the boat for the year. That's in the side yard, tarped and emptied and ready to go for the winter. And did some suburban work yesterday. So we're going to tone down to VIR. Wanted to get some work done on the truck. So put 4 new shocks in, replaced a fuel filler neck that was leaking when you filled it all the way up. And
was that the part that arrived?
Yeah.
Like we were there and like a UPS van showed up and gave you a part.
All the time.
That was
happens all the time.
So the only thing
hey, Chrissy, what's up? Hey, Bob, good to see you again. Yeah, here you go, man.
Yeah. And all that's left for the sub is to replace the driver's seat cushion and cover that I have, but haven't put in yet. But it's mechanically ready to go. Hooked to the trailer. The Civic's in the trailer. There we go. Mental, what have you been doing?
All right, wait. Before we get to mental, go ahead, mental.
I was going to say, I would like to take this point to remind one of our favorite listeners, Donnie, you're coming to New Hampshire. We're looking forward to seeing you. Grab those Canyon Arrow badges that you made and throw them in your Toyota right now so that you can give them to Chris and Chrissy when you get there.
We have the license plate, but not the badge. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff is bringing up screen sharing. Here we are.
So we need to be descriptive about these for the people who are not on YouTube. So
that is true. So there is this gorgeous Moroso custom oil pan that probably cost more than my first 4 cars.
Chris more than the engine did, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So my last bar tab was more than that engine cost.
So those of you who are on YouTube can see this, but it's a beautiful, you can see the welds and everything.
It really is. That is a high quality. Where did you guys find this pan? This thing is beautiful.
Summit.
All right. No, and it's nice because am I looking at the oil filter mount off the side of it? That is really nice.
It is, yes.
That is a Mac Daddy pan.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted the one that's going to keep the oil in place because we don't want to do this again. Like Oil issues in
Yeah.
race cars are bad. Like, so you spend the extra $100 for the good pan with the baffles. It's worth it.
So this is Chris's. We need to shorten by that much lines that you can see on that.
Jerry Ringel had to do the same thing on the Thunderbird, and he ended up having one custom made, and it was the same level of apprehension.
Yeah, I mean, this was custom made in air quotes. This is just we made it ourselves. Hell. All right, next one, Jeff.
Okay, I'm trying to find the one that's actually cut here. Hold on a second.
Well, that's a good one that you go back to.
Here, we'll go back to that one in a second.
My God, that's
audio.
a sexy wagon in the background.
Yep. So there it is after it's all done. I haven't cleaned it. I haven't done anything to it. That's raw weld, but it's
no,
together.
that's proper, homie. Well done.
So
and is it steel or aluminum pan? I should
it's
know,
steel,
but I don't.
It's all
Okay,
steel,
all
but
right.
I had to, because I didn't want to overheat and distort it because I had to move around a lot to keep the welds cool.
No,
so
it's probably because it's still thin-ish gauge metal, so it'll work.
Yeah.
No,
anyway, it's done,
yeah.
which is nice. It'll fit now. We put
Corey,
actually once I had it done, I put it in.
Watching this, yeah. If Corey Dickman is watching this, he'll twitch a little, but just because he's like super awesome welding.
Yeah, I'm not that cool.
By fit, that's how much of the motor sticks out of the hood.
The entire throttle body sticks above the hood.
I am all about it. I say we just throw a cold air intake right there on the nose and go for like that pro stock friggin' fiberglass hood scoop. Yeah. Hell
it's
yeah.
definitely going to have one of those hood scoops you see on almost every third gen Camaro these days. But
hell yeah.
It might drop slightly less than that once the pan is in. That was just the windage tray sitting on a block of wood on the cross member. So we'll see where it ends up.
It's not much more.
Yeah. But it's going to be like an inch down from completely sticking out of the hood. But we are using the truck intake that came with it because they make good power, and that's what came with the motor. We're not going to go spend $200 on an LS1 intake. So we still have to cut the hood. We still have to cut it as much. This is funnier.
Well, and then, it is funnier. And also, of the, basically everyone on this podcast has owned a GM tow pig with a truck intake. And how many problems have you ever had with your intake?
None. It's fine.
None.
Although, in fairness, has anyone ever had an intake manifold problem?
Only in some of our favorite movies.
Danger to manifold.
Danger to manifold. My one buddy Paula in Oklahoma, the gaskets used to be notorious, but yeah, but not the manifold itself. It was just the manifold.
Manifold's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Metzl, what are you working on?
We'll talk about this later, but I was down at Buttonwillow, so I'm in race recovery mode. So I've been doing laundry for the last 2 days. I'm still in Class B Bachelor Ops, and I'm going to say this: you guys are all, and even Corey brought it up during our Monday night E1R race. You are familiar with my "when the zombies come, I want to be at a lemons" race theory, because there's a lot of very smart people, and the Ranwin Parked race team is absolutely the embodiment of that. There was a specialty vehicle manufacturer who creates like armored stuff and exports them to several European and Middle Eastern countries. That's what he has done his whole life. There was a water treatment engineer. There's like 4 people that work for the state. These are really, really, really smart people. It was just an absolutely awesome team. It was, we had a great time, loved it. But back local, closer it is now, since the temperature is not spiking over 100 every day. Fall has come to Las Vegas. It's only in the high 90s. Mustard algae season is upon us. So while Jeff was closing his pool, I was cleaning mine. So I've been fighting that one. And it is confirmed today for both the MSR Houston race and the Ars Frieza-Palooza. If you are coming to those races, prepare yourself. Now, Lemons is actively discouraging bribes for judges. I'm just saying, if a bottle of alcohol shows up at my table, that's it.
Are you judging those races, or are you?
I am. I am judging both of those races.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm also, for a season that was not supposed to be a whole lot of racing, I still have like 3 more races this year.
You've done a lot of racing.
I've done a lot of racing. Jay even said, Jay like kind of looked up and said, what the hell are you doing here? And I looked at him like, well, I'm racing. He's like, God. And we'll talk about my life flags. And then Jay had to give me a hard time about that one.
Good.
Sorry,
Okay.
I was muted because my son was playing something in the background, but you missed my about your black flags.
Well, there it is. You did it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm waiting for
Chrissy?
someone else to ask you what you're working on, Chrissy.
Okay, see what you're working on.
Mental skips over Chrissy.
It's all good. No, I was at the work weekend. Made some food.
Well, introduces Chrissy.
Getting ready, right? Getting ready for the weekend. That's it. Same thing everybody else has been doing. All right. Now it's time for news and notes. Okay, the oft-maligned H2O I believe it's H2OI Fest was held in Ocean City, Maryland, and I have to admit, it was this past weekend. One of my favorite events in a youth, when I was a youth. When I was a youth. So the pandemic and city officials be damned. According to an article on the Drive by Rob Stump, Waze captured reports of police on literally every corner. By Sunday, there was over 100 people arrested. Cars impounded, $1,500 to $2,000 an incident. One person got like almost $4,000 fine for a single burnout. And the thing is, like they told them not to come, so they knew that they shouldn't have been there. They showed up anyway. They said this is an unofficial event. Do not come to this place. And of course, everybody showed up because that's what they do. And then there was a whole bunch of pictures of people with rentals, and they were like, screw you, this is not a show Volkswagen.
You actually read the article?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, this is awesome. This is my jam. Used to be my jam. When I used to have Coke and
I want to share the screen of the Waze picture.
Wait a minute.
Sounds like Mental super drunk.
Yes.
I wish share the screen. Yeah, I'll give you a kidney.
So well.
I'll totally give you a kidney. It's fine.
I'm not gonna drink. I just need $5 to get home.
Exactly.
Mental, if you'd like to hit the share button, go right ahead. It is active.
I don't think Mental's internet is going to be able to do this. We'll just describe it. Have you ever seen Waze? You can imagine Waze and the police icon on Waze. There you go. And imagine that on a barrier island that has a main road running down it.
And that's it.
And it's in the entire thing on both sides of the main road is nothing but police icons the entire way. They're on
For
every
those
block.
who have never been to Ocean City, Maryland, it's 3 blocks wide.
Wide from the ocean
there
to the
are
bay.
There are only 3 streets, maybe 4 in some sections.
They're the ones going over the bridge.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, but it's, a couple miles long. So long, right? Up and down the ocean.
It's kind of a perfect cruising town.
Oh, yeah. And children sharing Zimas and a whole bunch of tires that they're only using a quarter amount of the rubber that's on the road.
It's hella tight, hella flush all over.
Hella flush, yo. Okay, all right, let's move on.
All right, I'm going to turn my video off so I don't sound drunk, hopefully. On the opposite end of the D-bag spectrum, there was a Chevrolet dealer in New York that gave a veteran a new car when he came in to buy one. So James Gilboy tells us, also over on the Drive, how New York's Joe Basil Chevrolet, notorious for their generous veterans programs, met 104-year-old veteran Clint Johnston. First off, 104 years old, and that dude's still got the mind to go, I'm going to go car shopping today. So friggin' good on you, Clint. Came in to buy a new Chevy Sonic, but according to Joe Basil's social media, they just decided he had already given enough and said, here, Joe, or here, Clint, have a car. So that article is linked in our show notes as well.
Great.
That's cool. I'm looking at
absolutely.
it. Cool.
Good for
very
him.
Nice.
104, still driving. That's great.
Do you think he was you got stick, right? I don't
sure
want it's automatic.
I'm sure his reaction time is really good.
Yep. Watch out for Chevy Sonics in wherever that is. Anyway, our friend Sajeev is on the staff at Haggerty, and if you're not reading him, you should. This week he breaks down a lovely new hybrid from China called the SS Dolphin. It's a kind of cute but completely blatant but completely terrible ripoff of a 58 Corvette. Like,
wait. That's the picture of the Dolphin?
Yeah. It's imagine
I thought that was
Corvette
a 58 Corvette
from the side. Well, the wheelbase is totally wrong, especially the front. Like those front wheels are back way
Yeah.
too
They're
far.
a little too far back from the front.
And
from the
they're
grill.
these skinny little like Steelies with white walls that didn't even look right on a 58 Corvette. Anyway, it's apparently based on a front-wheel drive passenger car with a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, electric motor, batteries, 6-speed dual-clutch gearbox, 315 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, and about 88 grand at current exchange rates. But I mean, it's pretty hideous looking from the side. Like that gap is all wrong. So, yeah, the Chinese stylists have yet to find their own design language. We'll put it that way. So,
and who made that? So Sang or something like that?
Yes.
Dolphin. Who knows? Great Wall.
What you said.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sang
Young.
Young.
I don't know.
One of them.
So Jay Ramsey at Auto Week has seen the patent application for the next generation Honda Civic. The 11th generation Civic will have 2 body styles, a 5-door hatch and a 4-door sedan. You heard that correct. For the first time in a long time, the Civic will not be available as a 2-door coupe or a station wagon either. It hasn't been a station wagon in 100 years. I looked at the pictures of this. It looked okay. What they said was kind of missing from the patent application is all of the different intakes and scoops and sporty little flares, which means they are either hiding the sporty model and not trying to put that as part of the patent application, or they are just not gonna have a really zooty 11th generation Civic.
They'll definitely come up with an SI or a Type R, as well as those have been selling
but
lately.
if you remember, like an SI, it didn't have all of the flares and you know what I mean. So either they're going back to a more sedate looking, where it's not as tragically different.
We've got time. It always takes a couple more years for the good ones to come out.
Yeah.
So,
anyway. Like I said, or they're just going to do it later. Upcoming races. Champ is in our backyard for the Money Shift Racing Pittsburgh Grand Prix. Money Shift Racing Pittsburgh Grand Prix. I wonder, is Money Shift Racing sponsoring them, or are they trying to get jokey with their titles again? Okay.
No, they Champ Car has a program where teams can sponsor races.
Very cool.
Oh, well, the fact that there are 21 boring BMWs, that's why it's called Money Shift Racing.
Exactly. 71 cars, so that's almost 30% BMWs. Boring. 11 Miatas, 4 Hondas, 6 Porsches, and a daggone Chevy Beretta.
They keep bringing that thing back.
I hope
Good
it does
for them.
well.
Seriously.
I
All
hope
right,
it's turquoise with pink accents.
I'm sure it is.
Stripes.
Z26, yo.
Yeah.
That's the only way it comes, right?
Z24.
GTU.
GTU.
The GTU
yes.
package. with
GTU
the
package. the flares.
Okay, no one cares. It's Beretta. Our favorite lucky dog, Kathy, is holding the dog S-Style Okanagan, I think it is, Classic at Area 27 Motorsports in Oliver, British Columbia. I know some people that are very happy about this. That's Canada, also called the Bob Ramerchuk 99 Team Memorial Race. Whatever.
Like a Canadian would say.
She doesn't know what that's about.
I do. While Americans can't go on account of the Rona, I didn't realize this event is limited to 65 cars. Friday track practice qualifying and a 9+8 hour enduro. No entry list yet.
That is going to be the politest race ever.
Right? Oh, it's so cute.
You go first. Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. Or not. I don't do a Canadian accent like you do. I wonder how many people from British Columbia are going to go, like how many Canadians from
all of them apparently.
I don't think 65.
They might get some from Alberta.
I'm trying to figure out where this is.
Probably not Saskatchewan, but just fun to say.
It's on the West Coast, British Columbia.
So this is like the east to west center of Washington State, but straight up over the Canadian border, and it's right at the Canadian border. So
it's supposed to be a fantastic track.
If the Rona wasn't happening, because we know Kathy pills a lot of cars from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
that would probably be a pretty populous race.
Well, I think Sean and Kate have like 4 cars, so I think they should be okay.
Yeah.
That maybe they'll win with all 4 cars because nobody else shows up.
Good for them. I hope so.
I hope so too.
So recent race results. We talked last week. Champ Car ran Harris Hill this weekend. Saturday was all Miata, all on the same lap podium, because that's all that was there pretty much this weekend from what I remember. Lone Star Racers had an 08 that took the gold by 55 seconds. Winkler Motorsports 92 was silver, and Touchstones 92 was bronze, a minute and 15 seconds behind the leader. That's close. Sunday was the same thing, but Lone Star was able to get the win by a full lap. And both days they set fast time of the day. And really all 5 of the top 5 were Miatas. I mean, this is like it's spec Miata for Champ Car this time. I guess because I don't know, Texas. What is it about Texas and Miatas? I thought they'd all be Mustangs and Camaros. But
Really?
Seriously.
yeah, well, I thought they'd call
Lots
you
of
queer if you had
hairdressers.
right. All these queer folks in Miatas. It's Texas, right?
Maybe this is what it is. People who knew bought Miatas new, and then on the like the used market, nobody's buying them because they're like, oh, that's for queers.
Right.
Or the only way to butch up a Miata is to throw a roll cage in it and go wheel to wheel.
So nobody sees that from their bro dozer.
You can paint
Anyway.
it camouflage.
True.
You did.
Yeah. And so Lemons was in the butt this weekend. We're going to talk more about that in the main topic in just a bit. So
Nice. Listener feedback time.
So our buddy Craigers was watching on the tube episode 157, and he emailed us to say, I should have convinced y'all to pimp the terminally confused for episode 157. I laughed a bit when our hatchback, after the theme fell off, went past Jeff's background with our original race number on it because they only ran Summit Point once.
Yeah, that's why I'm running a race behind it, so listeners could see their cars.
I don't think they ran that race. I think that was that the one where Craig,
No, I don't think Kurt and Krager
were.
were not up for this race.
but other people
But other
can,
people
so,
can. Yeah.
Yes.
On the
Yep.
tube, Mr.
We do have more than one listener of Kurt and Craig.
I don't know.
watching there.
Some
Right.
days I don't know that we do. Okay. On the
Well, here's
tube,
your mom.
Mr. AJH7722, which we just really need to know your name, that you're not a bot. We know you're not a bot. I'm just trying to understand what this even means. Doodly doo. Not my strong point.
I can. Do you want me to translate? Or wait until you're done?
Thanks for another upload. Enjoy listening / watching while at work.
So last week I said, put your comments down in the doodly doo.
Wow, he's thorough.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is a callback to a YouTuber that you don't watch.
I don't.
Well
But
played.
a
All right.
funny Canadian who builds things, and right now he's like Hamsa's idol is this guy. Like,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Miata 13B, AK Alex L, said, wow, I totally love the Band E30 sticker. Will still make an appearance on my helmet with an E1R sticker, which is much needed. And Jim W, don't know this guy. Yes, I will bring games. Some might be a race cars. Also, I drove the RV for 20 hours to get 12 hours of sleep.
Oh, not the first guy
Hey.
to pay us to sleep in the RV instead of racing. But
Yeah. And instead of playing race car board games, we played a Jaws board game that actually was pretty good.
yes, and
I was Jaws.
and Jaws was very drunk by the end of the game and
Yep.
very done.
I don't know what you mean at all. I'm pretty sure you were just as drunk. So
I
there's
was
that.
getting there. Brandon,
man.
that's it's not my turn.
I mean, you can if you want.
No,
for it.
go ahead.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, so Brandon W had 2 comments in our last episode. First, he has a serious question for Jeff. Was the oil pan baffled?
No idea what he's talking about.
Exactly.
The
And-
one that you chopped up, I think.
Did-
Yeah.
Did we talk about the oil pan? Maybe we did.
I
The
don't
oil
know.
pan,
But it was I don't know if it was baffled, but it was certainly a bit confused.
yes.
Brandon then followed by, I have recently been corrected. It's pronounced Sophia. Also, check out the 5-star review I left in the Apple Podcast app for you guys.
Yay!
Which means we have a new iTunes review. I've said this 100 times. If you write an iTunes review, we are going to read it word for word. So you could make me say strange things. You could give us 5 stars and be like, Jeff, try and pronounce this. Blah, 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 and just smash the keyboard, and I will try and pronounce it. So Sea Dew Jumper posted, "So you were looking for a new podcast and you stumbled upon these four. I'm so sorry you were looking for some kind of self-torture. All joking aside, the quote 3-pedal mafia is an all right bunch of people. I mean, there's this one guy who calls himself Mental, and there are 3 others here, but no one can remember their names. Oh yeah, one is named Chrissy, and we all remember her because her mom's cookies are amazing. So we've heard. Come to a race. You can find out. Also, there's some kind of weird dominatrix turn during the show, and she'll give you just the tip. Sounds kinky. Sounds kinky. If you're Hank Hill, I'm going to say kinky. Maybe one of these days, these 4 will grow up and play with real cars like Chrysler LeBarons, Ford Escorts, or even a boat. But until then, they'll give you some awesome racing advice, news and notes from the racing world, and some pretty good safety advice. I truly hope you tune in and enjoy the comedy that is Everyone Racers." Woo!
Thanks,
And
Brandon.
that officially,
Awesome.
that gives us, I believe, 50 reviews.
Wow. Do we get anything for that?
No.
Yeah.
We still get a show.
That and $1.50 to get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
A hearty handshake. That's what I know.
Today, coffee's
But
free
yeah.
because it's National Coffee Day.
$1.50 at Starbucks? You crazy.
Yeah.
It's free
No,
everywhere.
just for the plain coffee.
Chrissy, you're wearing your Lucky Dog shirt.
I am.
But you didn't show it when we were talking about Lucky Dog.
Well, I was talking when I was talking about Lucky
All right,
Dog.
whatever.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Okay.
Love you, Kathy.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Next.
Let me take that back before we do that. That is 49.
Oh.
Oh.
So here's the deal. The person that gives us our 50th iTunes review will get a free, as of now, unmade Everyone Racers t-shirt.
What?
Everyone.
We get
We don't have a
if we get
racer t-shirt.
whoever gives us no, but we're going to have one, and the person that gives us the 50th review is going to get one of them.
All right.
No time
I
frame
got magic
presented,
markers.
but okay, great. Yep.
I'll
Perfect.
find a white
Fabric
shirt.
markers. I'll make it a colored
I'll
shirt.
make you your first E1R
Right.
shirt.
Ooh,
Fantastic.
performance art.
Reaction.
I
Chrissy
was
and I were
passed out in a Walmart parking lot, so
I
Yeah.
passed out on the couch not long after that.
And Jeff was passed out somewhere at home. So I was there actually with Eric and Bearded Sim Racer Ryan. And it was VIR. We had like 20 cars there. Santiago ended up winning in the 87, the only 87. So he won his class, so there's that. And I think Tyler Stank almost won the Let's Pick a Number and They Win award again. We picked a 9th, and he was 9th for a long time. We didn't know. And we said, "Who's 9th?" We said, "Oh, man, no, it can't be him again."
Tyler Stank
Fortunately,
again?
Right. Fortunately, he moved himself up to 8th. So that was good. Good Yeet Fest at the end. It was fine. Everyone loved VIR, that's for sure. And Uncle Dave worked himself up to 3rd at the end after really stepping on his wiener in the start. So
I haven't even had a chance to listen to it yet because we are recording a whole 24 hours earlier than we normally record. So maybe I'll listen to it tomorrow.
perfect.
Was it
Yeah,
fun?
it was fine. We're all a
With
little
those
tired.
three?
It wasn't
No.
our, it's not like me and Eric are going to set the world on
Chuckle
fire.
it up.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Nope.
Eric Root is pretty freaking funny. I'm sorry.
I feel
Yes.
like with you and Eric, there'll be less like just absolute
Less penis
belly
jokes.
grabbing guffaws. But I feel like you and Eric are going to be a lot more quoted throughout the week. Like everyone is going to wait for that one Zoom meeting where they could use that Chris Abbott or Eric Rude line. that
Mostly
they
Eric
picked up
Rude.
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And we had an E1R race last night. Who was there?
Now, to that end, when we announced our last week, our iRace announcement on Facebook, Wally S. commented, "Wait a minute, there's an Everyone Racers Discord channel?" There is. And we put the link in our show notes. So if you're going to come to our Monday night races, which you totally should, 90% of the entertainment is actually on
Absolutely.
the Discord channel. And
Yeah.
and when we suddenly plow into you from behind, it's a lot less funny with the jokes, or rather, it's a lot less offensive with the jokes we make as we do it.
All right. Cool. So where do we race?
VIR again.
Did he
'cause-
leave?
Yeah.
Can't tell because
sorry.
you're not here.
We only see a blank space.
It's all right. Well, hey, you know what? None of our videos cut out that bad, or our audio has cut out that badly.
It's
So
true.
it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Hopefully you are too. We're going to VIR next
listeners.
weekend.
He actually just got a wacky haircut. It has nothing to do with the
He
internet.
did not actually. Maybe that's why he's
My
hiding.
hair's like it's never been this big in my whole life.
He starts wearing hats, and I was like, "Why are you wearing a hat?" He's like, "Because his hair is all over the place." So
falling in my face.
Embrace it, Chris. Embrace it.
It's the corona. Anyway, we're going to VIR next week, so we wanted more time there. Plus, Lemons next week is at VIR and Sonoma Rallycross. So we said, well, we'll just do VIR. So we did. I asked Uncle Dave, and he said, I liked VIR before, but after driving it 2 hours on Sunday, he said, now I love VIR. So
Nice.
we went back.
Well,
Yeah.
and apparently it's cool just to join Discord and not actually drive. That's what Hamza and Mental did because they never got past their millions of updates and missed both races. I don't suggest you do that. Our Discord channel's pretty busy anyway, but it was not.
It's still nice to have them there. Absolutely.
Yes.
I would do that because some days I can't make it because I got other things going on and kids and things. So anyway, yeah, Discord channel, awesome. As the Rona goes, the E1R Monday Night Race League is one of the best things to come out this year, and we're not serious, but we are serious about the fun. So join us on Monday nights. Join the Discord channel. It is 9 o'clock we do one race, and 10 o'clock we do another race. Do we know what we're racing this week?
Well, we already raced this week. So what, next week?
Oh, you know what I mean. When they hear
Yeah.
it, what's going to be the
Well,
next
I'm going to
race?
have to look and see what Lemons is doing. We try to mirror whatever Lemons does for the most part,
Yeah.
unless they're doing something really terrible. I think they might be doing figure eight this week, which means we'll do that because figure eight is always
Figure
fun.
eight is
actually.
Figure eight's the best.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to do
anyways,
it in
it
some
is.
weirder cars this week, like
Yeah.
something a little different.
Okay.
Like legacy NASCAR trucks or something stupid like that. Or no? What? Then you tell me.
that one.
You know what I love with the figure eight is the stupid Legends cars
Well, we
because
can
they're
put them in there too.
they're
'cause
made
the
out
more-
of rubber
yeah.
and they accelerate like mad, but they don't go that fast. So they're great for the figure eight.
Well, we can put different kind of cars. In fact, the more disparate kind of cars you put in there, the better the figure eight race is.
I think one of the Formula Mazdas would be cool too. Anyway, so check it out. Monday nights, one race at 9, one race at 10. There is a password because we don't want every
Eastern Standard.
Eastern.
You know what
Thank
it
you.
is?
Eastern.
You know what next week is? It's Monza.
Ooh.
So we're going to have to buy
Is it pay?
Monza.
Oh, we gotta pay.
Well, either that or we can do something else. Like we could do, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We
But
will.
Monza.
Go,
Hey.
yeah, Monza's kind of cool. Actually, why don't you clap back at us? Tell us on the Facebook what you'd like us to run.
Yeah,
Great idea.
Yeah, so there it is. We do have a password. It is really easy to figure out. It's our favorite brake pad. It's 4 letters long, and it starts with ST. You figure it out.
Bubba
Right.
Wallace.
You know who never has to call us and ask what the password is?
It's true. We call them instead, like every time.
Chrissy's mom. I had a, but I believe was it Chrissy's or Chrissy's mom's banana muffin thing that snuck into my little Ziploc bag for breakfast
Yes.
today.
Oh
It was
yes, that's
wonderful.
Chrissy's. Yeah, my mom made it. I don't do that.
It was wonderful.
Good. I'm glad.
No one in my family eats banana, so I get to keep them all. Nobody else eats.
Nice. That's great. All right, it's me, topic time.
It's got a great.
Topic time. What
It's
are
a
we
double
doing
feature tonight.
It's a double feature.
Last week wasn't a two-fer. We were going to make it a two-fer, but it didn't work
Oh.
out that way.
I didn't
So
remember.
this one's the two-fer now,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Look
I'm
at, look
excited.
at me. I'm the two for now.
that's right.
Love that.
It's two great topics. We got to talk about wiping up after the butt and the iRacing.
It doesn't get old.
No, it doesn't. And
May I have an
iRacing
aside really
follow-up.
quick?
Yeah, please.
One of my favorite jokes on the planet is when somebody is wearing any article of clothing with Winnie the Pooh on it. You go up to him and you go, "There's poo on that shirt." Or there's poo on your pants. Or there's poo on your shoes. And it never gets old, no matter how many times you do it. This
Oh.
Buttonwillow joke is also hilarious, no matter how many times you do it. Wiping up after the butt. I didn't have a butt this week. So mental.
No.
Why didn't you tell us about your butt?
He was all the butt.
I was all the butt. I was total butt. So great track. And one of the things like Chris talked about early on is the dust around Buttonwillow it's very fine, and it does kind of get into everything. Say like, I don't know, if you have a master cylinder failure on like a 76, Omega, and you back it into Mazda Star completely off the track, you'll be picking dust out of your eyes for the next 2 days. And then like the next day, say like you're driving a Pontiac Solstice and you go off at exactly the same corner. So while you're having a conversation with Jay Lamb, you're still picking dust out of your eyes. But outside of that, it was a great race. A truly just fun time. I enjoy that track. Some people don't find it very technical. I like it because it's narrow and there are artificial but real elevation changes, particularly Phil Hill. There's a confidence level to Phil Hill. So I enjoyed it. One of the cars that everyone on both teams saw coming up in our mirror was the just beat to snot BMW E30 of Hella Shitty. They don't even have a grill on that car anymore. And you could see the fan turning in front of the radiator. It stands out in your mirrors are coming. So we always point them by. They ran away with the victory over You Mad Bro, which is a cheaty as snot, but not really cheaty E36 with an LS in it. And then Tired Iron Racing and a Miata was 2 laps before in that. And I want to frame that up because those three cars were 15 laps above fourth place. And Eyesore was fifth. So that's the caliber of racing that happens out there.
Eyesore could win anything.
They posted on their Facebook that they were having issues early on Saturday. They were winning for a while, like early.
Yes, and they were fast all weekend when they were on the track. Yeah,
they were having, I forget what the issues were. They were having some kind of issues that they announced early that it wasn't a winning race for them.
Yeah, anybody can have issues. That definitely happens.
Right. But it was a great time. And there's some people that they brought some cool stuff out. There was the 59 Pontiac that I posted up on the Instagram that I called the WAP, which in this case was the wide ass Pontiac. And Steph Schrader replied to our Instagram post of, asking for a car while I ride that car, which is a
did you read into it?
Cardi B. A Ford.
If he never listens to the show, he's gonna have no idea how that sounded. Right in the middle of the rap, you got so slow.
It sounded like
auto-tune, yo. That's how
it sounded like T-Pain for a minute.
Internet. This is not going well. Oh, that was funny.
Awesome. So also Thursday night, a Ford Ranger rolled up and they start cutting full-size sheets of aluminum and they made a Tesla truck that they called the Cyberfucked. Surprisingly quick, that one. Opile was right across from us. They were 23rd overall. Planned obsolescence in the 79 Buick Skyhawk was 61st. They had an unofficial competition with Corey Dickman in the ran with parked 76 Omega. When the car runs, it's fast, but as Corey put it down there, is they have a lot of problems. So then they fix it, and they're so angry when they fix it, they just go out there and rage drive until it blows up again. But a fun car. The 59 Pontville was looked awesome, ran awful, limped around the track all weekend, got 49 laps, so it was 80th. The Otis. Thank you. All right, yeah. Finished 53rd. So they were pitted next to us, they had their garages. There were no hot pits at Buttonwillow, so we were doing everything in the garages following the Lemons rules about fueling. So they had their radio, and we could hear their radio calls all weekend. And it was interesting and sad at the same time because they're great guys and they're really good drivers in that car running, but you could start hear them, what the hell's going on with this shifter? Oh my God, this thing sucks. Fucking Christ, I can't get it to go into fourth gear. Oh my God. And we were sitting in Corey's garage laughing our heads off about what was being broadcast on their radio next door. Dickman's ran with Park, the mighty 76 Oldsmobile Omega was 10th overall. We were second in class. We were battling is a good word, with the Honda Accord of Takata R&D. Great bunch of folks are following us on Instagram now. Hopefully they'll listen to this episode. They ran clean. They ran fast. Their opening driver on Sunday is a time attack champion. And when he came around me and laughed me inside the first hour when I started 2 cars behind him, that was just such an ego stop. Just, oh, there's still some texture in your ego. I'm just going to mash it all flat. You suck as a driver, mental. They had a black flag. We had a black flag. And then we started developing transmission problems. But it was a nail biter right to the end. And they truly earned that victory. Good bunch of folks. And, of course, sorry for Party Racing in the wet ass Pontiac, which is now the West Coast Solstice. They were 7th overall. So they
that seems pretty fantastic for that car. I mean, if
like completely
Matt
stock
added
Solstice.
It's not so much anymore. Matt ordered all new tires for it, but they didn't show up. And Chris Champion spent the night at his house when he landed in LA and then drove up and brought some of the tires. And then Tire Rack actually got the drop shipper screwed something up and they didn't get him in time. And Tire Rack did their level best to get it right. And they got the tires between Chris Champion and of Onset fame and Tire Rack. All the tires showed up at Buttonwillow Saturday. So we got them mounted there at Buttonwillow. They've got a fully functional tire shop, which is awesome, who also sells ice for your cooler. And we got them all mounted up. If we'd had those tires on Saturday, the car would have been a little bit faster, but we all picked up 2 to 3 seconds. So we've got nice big fat rubber on there, still sitting at stock ride height. We corner weighted it Saturday night with the new tires on there. And Matt's got some.
Put it on scales, not actually corner weighted it. There's nothing to adjust.
We actually did because we were shifting springs around to try and adjust that weight. Now, I'm not smart enough to understand. I know. I'm not smart enough to understand it. And then B, I was probably a case and a half into White Claws by the time we were doing this. So I didn't really understand everything Matt was telling me. But
this
we
is
did
great.
adjust.
We were all drunk in like different states at the same time.
Yes. But by the time we got it actually settled it because I got to drive. I drove it for practice on Friday and I drove it again Sunday. And it's not off stock, but it's picking up a few seconds. So we think with some braking, some really actually calibrated suspension, because it's not a diet, and
needs to lose a couple hundred pounds,
and it's got to have a fuel cell because the thing it's when you're refueling a 4-cylinder more than you're refueling an LS swapped 70s car, you probably need to think about.
It's a tiny little tank. It's a shame.
Yeah. Well, but I also wonder if similar to.
But it's a good job setting it up.
I wonder if similar to a Miata, because it is a tiny little car, would 20 gallons of fuel really upset the weight?
Nah, it's too heavy, and it's got so much tire under it. It'll be fine. A Miata, when you strip it out, it weighs 2,200 pounds. Yeah. Solstice, this one weighs 2,800 right now. So
yeah, but if you got 200 pounds out of it,
still, it doesn't have
also,
the same light feel.
It's true.
We ended up redoing the cage. Friday night, we redid the cage, cut the
halo bar,
main window bar. Yeah, and then redid that, which really improved visibility. So we're not using the cameras anymore. But we had
forward
Corey
halo bar
on site, and Corey is a phenomenal welder.
That forward halo bar, the only reason it was so terrible was that was the last piece of tubing I had that was long enough to fit in that spot. And it was too late.
Oh, that's so great.
So that one had to go there.
Matt was trying so hard not to say anything disparaging about you. And he's like, I don't know what Chris was thinking with this bar. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, it was in your field of view.
Pre-bed that goes up.
Yeah. It was the last bar I had that would fit. That was it.
The mirror would only just, Oh, that's awesome.
Whatever.
Okay. So that
Didn't
explains
we?
everything. So actually, I think you would love the visibility in the car now because it is genuinely a delight. I
It's
love
the
that
visibility behind that's the problem because the
Yeah.
ass is so enormous in that car, and you're sitting in a bathtub. Like you look left
Yes.
and right, and your eyes are at the level of the door.
The
But
problem
we were
that
able to raise the wink mirror up, and it really works
yes,
out.
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the problem is that the mirror, it was too close to your face, so it only showed your face.
Yeah. And also, now the second part of this is, I climbed into a 76 Oldsmobile Omega, and the thing is, Corey Dickman is a really, alarmingly underestimated, intelligent guy, but he's got an affinity for Malaise era cars. He loves big American 70s cars. But what he has done with that Omega, with a few maybe cheaty parts to say Hotchkiss on there, is he has made a car that is a beast. It's still a turbo 350, but it's an LS pushing it. And that thing, and I learned a new phrase this weekend called Miata rage, where Miata's coming to the corner and look over to 76 Omega and go, oh, you can't handle this corner like I can. To which we would go, oh, yes, we can. And then on the straightaway, you're going to listen to the sounds of freedom as I pull you down the straightaway. So Corey built a great car, and I loved driving it. Matt was faster in the Solstice, or in the Omega, than he was in the Solstice, even as he chased his own Solstice down driving the Omega Saturday. The fastest lap of the weekend was 2:10, but Matt managed to get that Omega into 2:20 territory.
Cool.
I don't really know enough about Buttonwillow. What kind of track is it? Power track, handling track, kind of in the middle?
It's kind of in the middle. Like it's got
Kind of in the middle.
big long straights, and then it's got like a little tight set of S's, and then it's a really tight hairpin, and another little kind of chicane kind of thing. So
yeah, we ran the bus stop. Yeah,
it
And is it
doesn't
like
have a whole lot of flow, in my opinion, though.
And
Like
it's also fairly flat.
Yeah,
It's in the desert, but there's just not. I feel like that one or Chuckwalla has a little bit more elevation. I think
Chuckwalla had more
flat.
elevation than Buttonwillow, but
Yeah.
still, they're both flat. I don't know,
kind of like
Buttonwillow, I just
Summit
think is
Maine, where there's kind of like a power section and then like a handling
it has
section.
more corners in Summit, Maine, but it just doesn't. I never developed a good flow at Buttonwillow. It's just here are some corners.
Also, might have been the car you were driving when you were there. Just saying.
I spent the most time in the Simca that weekend, which was basically just stand on it all the way around the track.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the
Still.
I got a great rhythm with the Omega. Just knowing where to downshift the turbo 350 into second and then get on the power. He has a lot of tire under that car. And then sometimes you just kind of hang the rear end out a little bit, and that's where you go. And there were a lot of people that underestimated that car going through Phil Hill. But now the catch is I needed all of Phil Hill because I'm hitting that thing. It's going to get light and it's going to flow over it. But the Omega, I really felt like I got a good rhythm. The Solstice, I never found the rhythm. Other drivers did on the team. Other drivers were just crushing it, but I never found the same rhythm.
Cool.
All right. Great.
Highly recommended. Come out there. It's a great facility.
How
This
were
is the
the
one where
bathrooms?
the lights turn off, right?
Not anymore. They redid this. They're all on switches now, so they don't.
I'm pretty sure I said that because I think somebody posted the meme
Yes,
and then
the
somebody
meme,
else
yeah.
said it's fixed now.
But the Corey was ranting and raving about how the showers were private, and then sure enough, Saturday morning he's telling me, he's like, "So I told you guys, the showers are private, and I'm out there taking a shower, and good gust of wind came up and just blew the curtain straight high, and I'm well." They've seen everything now, so I showered in my RV, so I didn't have to worry about that. But
They didn't even have
showers are still outdoors.
Yeah, they didn't even have curtains on them when we were. Well, it was also it was winter, so there
December.
was. Yeah, all right. I guess that's the thing.
They don't want you showering in December.
I didn't want to shower in December.
So this is like basically Bakersfield, California. So this is kind of in the
Central Valley.
central part of
It's
the
like
state,
an
right?
hour outside of Bakersfield.
I mean, but Bakersfield is like the closest thing, right? I mean, it's the
Correct.
desert outside of Bakersfield.
Right.
That's the town that you could
Right.
say. Do you know where that is? Or what we said when we were first going out there. We were like, can I finish my story for a second?
Please.
Going to, it's December. Oh, I'm going to go to California over, in
It'll be
December.
warm,
Right? And they're like, oh, where? And I'm like, Bakersfield. And they're like, don't really know where that is. And I was like, Central,
Bakersfield.
cold. It's going to be colder there than it is here. And they're all like, oh, cool. They have the best tacos ever. If you're ever in Bakersfield, call me. I'll tell you where to go to get tacos.
You can't get some good Mexican food.
It is
there.
the
That's
armpit of California, really.
Yeah.
Bakersfield.
Well, Central Valley is where all the produce is made, like for most of the western part of the state.
almonds and pistachios. Yes,
Yeah.
as far as the eye can see.
No boiled
Nice.
peanuts. All right. Well, that was a good wrap up, Mental. Thank you. Now, this is the second part of the two-fer. This isn't enough to do its own topic. So we thought.
Double shot.
Right, exactly.
Double shot
We're gonna-
Tuesday. Sorry, go on.
It is. We're going to do an iRacing follow-up because it was way back in November that we started talking about getting iRacing rigs. And in the subsequent months, we all have. We've started our own E1R racing night. We're all using them regularly. It's time to turn around and look at what we did, how we feel about it. Maybe we're going to help some of those you haven't made the plunge yet as we get into the off season when people are going to start thinking about this stuff again, a little bit more even. So we're going to go just round robin on a bunch of topics just to see where we are. So we're going to start off with, how do you feel about your computer setup? Like the computer itself, what you got, etc., accessories, the hardware.
We wrote in the same order, so why don't you call on people, but I'll start.
Let's just keep going in the same order. Just do it. Like
Okay,
you
same
and
order.
Mental.
All right.
Go for it.
So my setup is okay. I got an off-the-shelf gaming laptop. I did not spend high-end money. I spent middle-end money, and middle-end, right? It runs fine. It actually
low-end money. It wasn't middle. Yeah.
No, it was under 1,000, but it was approaching 1,000. So
That's low-end money.
Whatever. Keep going.
whatever.
It's all relative,
Sorry.
really,
It's all
actually.
it is relative. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick.
So yeah, well, there's gaming computers out there that are like $400. So that is middle end. But anyway, the
Fact.
no problem. It runs everything great. My setup loves to confuse what microphone is speaking at the moment. And I have an Oculus, so sometimes it thinks I'm talking to the Oculus and sometimes it doesn't think I'm talking to the Oculus. So this is probably operator error, not hardware issues. But yeah, my setup is great. I wish it talked to the Oculus a little better.
That's the next section.
Yeah.
Mental, how's your computer? What is it and how is it?
So I actually bought it wasn't custom built to be gaming, but I bought a custom setup from a local buddy of mine. This was his password cracker that he added a GeForce GTX Founders Edition video card to. The card has more memory than I think my Mac that I use to do the show with. So this thing is full tilt. I've got a 1600 watt power supply. All of my issues of iRacing have all come from user error. This thing has been an absolute tank. It is a water-cooled CPU. So I'm probably ready for at least another 5 years of upgrades on this thing. If I leave it running during the day, the temperature in my office increases by about 5 degrees, and Vicky will actually start to complain. So it is a beast of a computer. I absolutely love it. I've used it to a very limiting degree for some other gaming. I'm just not a gamer, so it's primarily iRacing, and I haven't had a hiccup outside of software updates that I just need to stay in front of.
Chrissy?
Well, I think ours is pretty good, but I couldn't tell you a single stat on it. But mostly, not that I don't know about computers, it's mostly because I didn't do the setup. So you should speak to what the actual setup is.
Yeah, it's a desktop. It's with a Ryzen R7 processor, I think. It was about $800 last year on a Black Friday sale. So not bottom of the barrel, but definitely not a liquid cooled Alienware kind of thing.
No,
good enough, but solid state drive, which is great instead of a spinny hard drive. And it's hardware wise, it's been fine. We get a good frame rate for everything we do. It does it quickly. It hasn't given us any problems. The computer itself is fine. It came with a keyboard that works. We got found a wireless mouse around that we put on there. That's a little bit better too to help. But hardware wise, everything's been great. We have a Logitech G29 steering wheel, and that's been completely fine. Like I get maybe because I don't know any better, but I feel like the pedals give appropriate feedback, the wheel gives appropriate feedback. Like it's a game. Like this is not a high-end motion sim rig. I'm not expecting the world, but it works well. Cool. So now the next setup is what about your visual setup? Do you have screens? Do you have the VR? How do you like it? Let's talk a bit more about that, Jeff.
So this is where I am a little down because I do not get monitors because I thought for sure I'd be running this on my Oculus, and my laptop does not talk to my Oculus, and I haven't put enough effort probably into it. But the so I also have a GTX, pretty decent video card and stuff, and when I go to Oculus, it basically says, we are aware that we don't run on all gaming laptops with GTX specific lists. There's a list and it says, we're working on it. And I say, great. So then I kind of put it away and don't worry about it. So I go to my giant screen TV and I sit in front of it. So it's really big, but it doesn't have the right ratio, and because I have to put my chair next to it, I'm too far away and I only have one screen, and it doesn't give me enough.
There are some things that VR does very well. Like
so,
figure eight. Can't do a figure eight well.
Can't
if
look
you don't
left,
have
can't
VR.
Look right.
Yes.
And even though I have like the look left, look right button, it doesn't work. Like it just literally like makes the screen go like there's
and you should be doing things faster than you don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
You can when it's your eyes, but
visual is definitely my problem.
Yep.
Okay. Mental.
I went VR on your recommendations, and I don't regret it for a second. It is, I probably actually have more visualization in VR iRacing than I do in a real race car, because you've got a Hans and you're all strapped in, and now containment seats are pretty much standard everywhere. So you get about this and you learn to use your mirrors. But even last night, because we're recording this early, last night when we were doing the race at VAR and I was using Santiago's setup, so it was a little twitchier than I was used to, and I mowed a lot of grass. As I would pull out back onto the track, I would lean forward to get past the containment seat, and I would look left like I'm driving a car, and I would look to see who's coming, and I could time my track reentry on there. So just from a situational awareness standpoint, and I do not as much lately, been traveling a lot and working a lot, but I do racing outside of the Lemons and the E1R league. And that ability to be able to merge back onto the track safely is absolutely key.
I just
or
go.
Even
I can't
just
see.
Looking,
that's the best.
Right. And just like as I'm coming into a corner to see if I'm about to chop somebody's nose off, I can look over to the left and see how far back they are. And it has made a huge difference.
Just hit them.
And we'll talk about why some people take that as like the greatest defense in the world when we get to the end of this questionnaire, but yes.
Okay, Chrissy.
I like our VR is great. It doesn't fit. I still have not found the best fit for my head. So it's still, yesterday my cheeks were down to like my chin. And I kept trying to pull the thing up, but the thing in the middle, I'm at the max of the Velcro on the top of the VR. So other than that, it's fine. And yesterday was making me seriously sick. I think I spun too much because I was doing that. So yeah, that was great. I like it.
And you a bunch of months ago, we talked about your kind of queasiness inside the VR. And then you just brought it up now. So can you talk about, like, has it progressed? Have you gotten better? Have you gotten more used to it?
No, and no. I haven't gotten any better because I don't do it nearly as much. Chris usually will sometimes do both races. I will sometimes do one. I do not practice outside of our races. I think it depends. Yesterday I was just feeling sick, but I think it's if I spin too much. I focus on where the world is going, but when I go sideways in the car, but I'm sitting still, I think my body doesn't like that. So if it's a normal race that I'm just kind of doing okay, then it's not so bad. I think that's when I get more.
Got it. Because
going backwards was the death for me when I started, without a doubt.
Yeah, but
But
Chris, you said you've gotten better at it, right?
Well, I'm not better at it. I've become used to it. I've become used to it.
Yeah. So
yeah, over time, it used to be when I first started and I wasn't even racing. I was just kind of playing games to get used to the Oculus. The problem I would have was when I would take it off and be back in the real world. That's when I would start to feel a little iffy sometimes. But for the actual racing, I think the Oculus is wonderful. The image quality is great. It's great to be able to move and look and see things. That's wonderful. We have had some issues with getting it set up and staying in the right space. So like sometimes I've gotten better at it, but at first it was a big challenge. Like it was an extra 15 minutes to get the Oculus on and working.
Sometimes more, and then also sometimes some throwing of things.
Yeah.
It would get all the way through the screens.
Yeah.
And then
it would stop.
Right. Then you would get to the race and you were like
sitting next to the car.
Or like above it. Or like
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you have to so we've learned some things. You have to reset the Guardian if that happens to kind of reposition yourself to be where is center, straight, level, and height. You do that. The other thing that's really helped us is to put once you're in the link mode, link to the Oculus to the computer, go into virtual desktop of the Oculus, and that way you're in the computer in the Oculus, so you can like click on join the race and stuff all right there, so you can kind of have the Oculus on.
I gotta try that.
I wish you would have told me that, like, I don't know, 7 months ago, but that's a good one.
Well, I think we figured
it out like
too.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
That I figured. So
and I didn't realize we actually found a fix for it, but it's been very frustrating, and it's one of those things I've truthfully been hesitant about putting it on, because if it's going to take us 20 minutes to get it set up and he's going to throw things, then I'm not going to then I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Right?
And I haven't worked hard enough to get past that. Like I try and get it. The link works, and then the link goes away, and like
it's black and it doesn't come back.
I got black in front of me,
right?
But on the TV screen, if I move my head, the sim is running and the sim is working.
Yeah, usually at that point I restart the thing, but doing the virtual desktop seems to work like every time to get it working. So.
I'm gonna try it.
And then then the Oculus is pretty much straight ahead. We kept having the problem of like when you lift it to go look at the monitor, because we have a monitor with this computer. I feel like sometimes that was the problem, that the Oculus thinks that you're looking up in the sky. When you put it back down or you try to like put it or like move it, then it's
And that's one other thing to note. You can't use an Oculus without a monitor. You still have to have the monitor to get the computer on and get it going and that kind of stuff. Like I figured, I just plug the Oculus in as a monitor. I don't need a monitor for that computer. It doesn't work that way. So we have to take one of the monitors from our office, bring it downstairs to do this, put it back, and maybe someday we'll get another one.
Truth, I stole the one from the computer when we both started working from home. So
exactly.
that's my fault, not the computer's fault.
If you're listening to this, like seriously, go to Goodwill. They're like $15 for a monitor, and you don't need a high resolution one.
But do they work?
Yeah.
Yeah, monitors are like foolproof.
No, I meant like, I guess sometimes they have.
No, seriously. Usually they plug in.
Baby fighters that are gonna.
Yeah, you don't need a high resolution. You don't need a high resolution monitor just to get into your Oculus.
Yeah.
But on that one, I've had the same problem where like when I take my Oculus off, I have to keep it level because when I'm checking stuff on the screen. I have found the trick though. I know when I set the Guardian, which I have to do like almost every time, but I know exactly what X's I draw the line on when I set the Guardian to get exactly the center of the car where I like to be. I literally sat there and counted them out. I know it's there are 2 X's exactly in front of my feet. I count 5 off to the right, 5 off to the left, and then I square everything off to get my seat in the car, because I've had the thing where you sit too far back and like the seat is blocking your vision, or you're on top of the steering wheel. So I experimented with my Guardian settings until I got exactly where I want to be in the car. I also took my arms away. I turned the arms off. I just have the ghost wheel in front of me when I drive. I find that helps.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, I didn't know it was a thing either.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. All right,
Okay,
good-
now's
good
the
info
meat.
there.
This is the good question. Is it? Oh wait, just what? Do we like the actual driving? Is that the next question?
No, it's your chair and your seat and the sim
Oh, I'm
rig.
sorry.
Like,
Like
you've got to have a place to put all this stuff. I mean, it can be just a folding chair in front of a desk with a wheel clamp to it, or it can be a full out motion sim rig. What do you have and how do you like it?
So
Okay.
I bought a cheap ass Amazon. I think I paid $80, like thing that clamps your pedals and your wheel too. And I sit on an office chair and it's fine. I don't know what I'm missing. You know what I mean?
Said
Like
that, but didn't your wheel used to like
I was
jump
gonna-
off of
no,
your
but
just
but
gonna
that's-
say that.
No, but this $80 thing fixed that.
Oh, okay.
It was when
Well,
I
you-
had it on the folding table that was like terrible.
You kept pushing them away, and then we
yeah,
figured
yeah,
out that there's little things under the pedals.
I had to like get I thought I was cool and I got like a shoe box between the furniture and I'd put the pedals next to the shoe box and then I was on a
Yeah.
folding table, but the folding table would rock so it would like turn the steering wheel as it rocked. That was a problem. But
Then you have the
literally
shifter set backwards too, so upshift was downshift and
Yeah,
downshift was upshift.
And you have to write
Yeah.
yourself little notes that says
did.
this side up.
Yes. I've never owned, look, 3-pedal Mafia. I don't have automatics. I don't have flappy paddles. If it don't got a clutch, I don't drive it, okay?
Except for
Only
your
one of your
Corvette or your
cars.
Titan.
Yes, but that's
or your-
GM. GM has
Okay,
the
just-
stupid push with your thumbs or pull with your fingers.
Okay.
It has up and down.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so the $80 like clamp your wheel to it worked great, and I would highly recommend it. And if I ever bought like a racing seat instead of an office seat, it could go low, it could go high. So yeah.
Right.
Okay. Mental.
So I and we talked about this because I end up buying 2 of them. I found a full up gaming rig setup that it came out of a gaming trailer, and the guy was selling them all off, and I bought one, boxed it up, and sent it to Hamza. So Hamza's using that one, but it's they bought the cheap Logitech wheels, and now that I'm kind of getting into it, I'm not getting the same feedback on a Logitech wheel that I would get, I feel, in a regular race car. And we've been spending all of our Sunday nights with the folks out of Nemesis Labs, and I am really eyeballing. They're very expensive, high quality, probably worth every penny, full feedback wheel setups that they have. So I've been looking at that. I actually didn't get a stick shift. I think they threw them all away when they built this gaming trailer, probably just to save cost. So I don't have a stick shift. Everything I've been doing has been flappy paddle.
Mm-hmm.
The seat itself is actually immensely comfortable and very adjustable and even collapsible. My big beef is I did not have a monitor mounts, and I found one of those on Facebook Marketplace, which leads me to my point is if you're getting into this, early on in the Coronication, a lot of people spent a lot of money buying various flight sim and computer rigs and things that they have now grown weary of, and I don't say this as mockery to anyone that is looking for a job right now, or suddenly they're finding themselves without income. So if you get into it and you're having fun, I would highly suggest looking for an upgrade to your mount used. And look through that, because now that I've bought one, Facebook Marketplace keeps trying to send me, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. I already bought one.
The algorithms thing. The algorithms.
Exactly.
Oh, shoot.
I'll say that I have the
Yes.
Thrustmaster.
Now I think
Yeah,
I've come
you do.
across some good deals.
Sorry, mental was off time
No,
again.
no. I know. I've come across some good deals, but not quite as good as the one I got because the guy was just trying to unload them. So I would recommend a proper sim setup, but you don't have to spend a fortune on it. You can buy them really cheap, and they've got collapsible ones that'll fold up in the corner too. So I would recommend that. But I think after the first of the year, I'm going to be looking for a wheel and pedal upgrade.
That's what I was going to say. I probably would upgrade my wheel and pedal because I got the cheap Thrustmaster, and like not even like the G29. I got like the cheaper one, and yeah, I that's probably
G2.9.
yeah, that's probably the most issue with my setup.
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy,
Chrissy.
who's going next? I hear cat.
I do hear a cat podcast. I like our setup. I really don't have any problem. Actually, the seat positioning is stable and fine for both of us. Everything is comfortable. I got no complaints.
Yeah, me too. It fits fine. It's what we got is a fairly inexpensive Amazon as well. Just mount a seat and a pedal and shifter. It didn't have any monitor stands because I said, "Oh, I don't need those. I've got the Oculus. I don't need a monitor." So now we have a tea tray in front of it. It
works just fine.
It does. It's fine. I haven't welded up a mount for the monitor yet, but anyway, the seat we put on it was the passenger seat out of our 300ZX that we weren't using, and that has a nice, actually, the mounting flange for that is all level. It's not one of those weird, wacky ones that are all over the place. So I welded up some brackets to the seat stand and bolted the Z seat to it. The height is great. The comfort, it's comfortable. The positioning's good. The wheel's in the right spot. The pedal's in the right spot. Like everything actually works really quite well. I'm pretty pleased, and we probably only have, I don't know, we have under $100 into the seat mount, etc. rig that holds everything really nicely. We have a Logitech G90 or whatever it is, wheel, pedal, shifter setup, and that's fine. I've been completely satisfied with it. I don't have any desire to be spending multiple hundreds of dollars on a Thrustmaster 8000 by Nemesis Labs, to get a little better feel on stuff. Like, yeah, I'm sure it would be better, but for the amount we use it, totally fine.
And the cat loves the setup. She practices shifting all the time.
She loves the Z seat.
She likes the Z seat. We have to
It's kind of plush. It's in good shape. I didn't realize with how crappy the rest of the car is. I was like, that's the Z seat? That's pretty clean.
It's because it's a passenger one. That's why.
Yeah. I always have problems because when we travel on a road trip, the dogs they have their spots. The big dog is always in the passenger seat if I'm traveling solo, or if or she sits in the back of the Mercedes, and the little ones always get into my lap, and they don't understand the difference between iRacing and driving someplace. And
no,
you've got the Oculus headset, then all of a sudden there's a 12-pound dog in your lap.
I know I've mentioned this before, but my dog sits next to me and farts so bad my eyes water. He's like
too much pepperoni.
Daddy's in the seat. I'll just sit here and be quiet. And then all of a sudden I'm like, holy cow, what in the hell? And I look down and there's the dog.
Yep.
The one that'll get me a lot too is like they because I'll have to throw them out of my lap, or I'll have the keyboard in my lap while I'm trying to do stuff. So I get the may I paw. So while I'm trying to drive, they're just putting the palm. Can I get up, please? I can't help but notice you have a lap that's not being fully utilized.
Oh, get down! No, I'm doing something.
That's
all right. I think I'm going to combine the next two. The actual driving. What do you think about it? And do you think it helps you?
All right, I'll go first. I suck, and I still suck. I do not put a lot of effort into it. I do not race outside of our races. I don't even do the Lemons races because I'm in the way, or at least I felt I was in the way in the beginning. So, when my table was still shifting all over the place. And I really I have a good time racing with my friends. And I really feel like I could learn a track. I could go to a track that I've never been to and I race a bunch of times and know where it goes left or right, and maybe not know shift points and things like that, but learn the line. And I think that is what I expected to get out of it. I don't think that I will ever, until maybe I get the Oculus working and get it better set up, I don't think I'm going to learn how to brake correctly or how much speed to carry in each, because I don't feel the speed. I drive too fast all the time. I hit people in the rear bumper. It doesn't matter. I overcook things. Hey, but at least I knew that those turns went left and those turns went right and what it looked like. So yeah, I suck. I love it. I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm having a good time.
Nice.
Who's next?
Mental.
So I enjoy it. I get into work modes where I'm doing a little bit more work. When we first started the Coronication, I had a lot of time to fiddle with it, and I did a lot of solo practice. And I felt I was working on smoothness. Where I feel that I am spiritually and mentally as a driver, I feel like it's helped. It has helped me maintain my focus during extended times. I don't drift while I'm in the actual car because I've learned to focus on the computer aspect of it. I'm not any faster, but I feel like I'm better, if that makes any sense. I feel like I've really learned to focus my eye points, or rather where I put my eyes when I'm going through tracks, even tracks that aren't on iRacing. I'm very disciplined about where I'm turning my head or where I'm looking, and I'm trying to be very gentle on machinery. And iRacing not having the visceral feedback that I have in a real car, I've learned to be just try and have smoother inputs, and that has put me in a place where I'm trying to be more gentle on everybody's car, and to the point where Chris had to fuss at me about it at CMP.
Just the way that car drives,
right? But I like the aspect that if I'm slower but I'm not breaking the car, I feel like I'm a better teammate.
Totally.
And
yeah,
so
makes sense.
And that's just where, get hippie mental, but that's where I'm trying to be right now. So I think it's aided me very much in that one. Does it help? I'm going to say yes. I have, from everything that I just talked about. Also, it really helped me with motion sickness. I have not had an incident. Like, I just plowed through it when it first started. And Chrissy warned me, this is going to happen. But when I have a good spin or I get knocked backwards, I force myself to keep my eyes open and just kind of press through the nausea. And now it's just not as bad as it used to be. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the face that she just made when I say that is classic. It was awesome. What I feel like, so I feel like it's made me a better driver. I also feel like I have not really maximized it. We had Tyler Hoffman on the show a while back, and one of the things he suggested is immediately after a workout, like you go downstairs to the basement, you friggin' lift and you do everything, jump in your sim and go take like 20 hot laps, because that prepares you for the exhaustion of the car. When we were running at Thompson, the cool suit failed on all of us across the board, and it wasn't working. And I felt like I was better prepared for it. And also I had a similar issue. I did something and caught the cool tube with my elbow and ripped it off the cooler at this weekend at Buttonwillow. And I just sucked it up for 90 minutes and just drove hot and sweaty. So I'm getting it, but if I really maximize it as a training tool, when I would do my long runs, instead of sitting next to the pool and drinking a bunch of water until I was nice and cooled off, I would just jump into the sim and practice driving hot and exhausted to really reinforce the discipline. So that's my take on it. And I recognize, especially in this group, I'm in the minority, but yes, it's made me better.
Good. I'm glad. I agree with everything Jeff said, and not most of things that Mental said. It hasn't made me. It hasn't.
Story of my life.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I was listening to Jeff, and I'm like, yeah, all of that stuff, right? Like, I get in. I don't think it's made me any better. I think I had unrealistic expectations for a little bit to think that I want to be better. I want, when I get in, should be like, yeah, I'm a good driver. I should just be able to do this. And I don't, and I suck. I was Mental, I think you had walked away, and I don't know if you can hear when you walk away, but I was really sick on Monday, that I think I spun too many times, and it was making me really nauseous. So that feeling really hasn't gone away yet. The one thing I do agree with, and we'll see if this is actually the way it is, if I know how to drive tracks, we'll be driving them this weekend. So I have not driven VIR, but did what we've done 2+ hours of I didn't do all three. I didn't do both races. And so at least 2+ hours of, and then we did some practice before races for both weeks. So I have a couple hours on the track. So let's hope that I've learned, because I need to know where I go right and left. But the one thing about not making me a better driver, I'm not able to translate what I'm doing in the sim to what I'm doing in the car. I drive very differently. I speed up too much. I don't brake enough. And I was drifting through corners in the Kia through the S's. Like,
hell yeah!
I would never.
Pinky.
Right? I was like, I don't need to brake here. And I was doing fine, but I would never do that in the Civic. So it's things like that I just figure out how to make it drive, and it's not the way I normally drive. So I don't think that I'm not getting that translation for how do I drive the sim racer to how do I drive. And maybe it's the cars I'm driving, or the cars I'm used to driving on, if it's all front wheel, and that's the reason I'm doing different things, but I'm not making that translation. So am I having fun? I suppose. But I'm learning tracks. That's good. Yeah, it's fine. Yes, that's my answer.
I'm kind of with Jeff on this one. I like racing with my friends. I like that aspect of it more than anything else. I'm definitely a drive-by feel kind of guy. I've been doing this long enough that that's just how I do it. And I don't have the feel in the sim. I think my visual cue reading has gotten better over all the times I've done this. For sim racing, it hasn't changed my actual meat space racing at all. I go out there, I drive like I did before. There's no difference because it's a different skill set. The skill sets that are same to me are like the lines and things like that, and some basics of car control. But the nuances, like the point where I am, where the things I'm learning are things that I'm not learning in a sim. It's things I'm learning on track and the feel and the whole package, because we're down to tenths. So that's really what I'm not getting. But I am really, like Chrissy said, I'm really looking forward to seeing how I do with a track that I've never been on in real life, but I've spent considerable time on in a sim. Can I just get out there and feel comfortable pretty quickly and go? Does it help that learning curve?
Will the learning curve go faster?
Yeah.
That's the key.
And I would think it would be, because like you said, you'll know where if you're left or right. Like there's plenty of times you can watch a video and you can't tell where you are. Like I've lost I'm thinking of the time when it's not a good example. NCM, right before we did NCM. Like I said, not a good example because there is so many corners in NCM, but basically we were like, wait, rewind that again. We've been through 3 corners and I have no idea which way is up. So I think that's where we'll get with VIR. Going there saying, okay, we've done this enough. I have the visual cues. There's the barn. There's the houses on that side. They're on this side. Okay, we're going to go up. We're going to go down. We have that idea, and I think that's going to be a little bit better when we get on track. Good.
And I may eat these words, but from a pedagogy standpoint, that is smart, because now you've involved muscle memory in addition to your visual cues. When we're watching the YouTube videos, it's only visual, but now you're like, oh, I am turning right and I'm turning left, and then here come the S's. So
you get the elevation change with iRacing that you don't get with a video.
You do.
Like,
yes.
Like if you watch a video of Road Atlanta, you have no clue at all how the elevation changes, for example. But like here, just from watching video of VIR, I don't know which corner it is, but it's after you've gone to the top of the climbing S's, and there's this one hard left as you crest a hill before you go down a little valley to the oak tree, right? I don't know the name of that corner, but that's a corner where I think I wouldn't get that properly with a video. That one I needed to see and kind of feel in that kind of environment to understand it. So,
I think so many of the instructional videos out there are from the cockpit, so you can see what the driver is doing, because that's what those people are trying to do. We put the camera behind the driver so I can see what my hands are doing and see what my feet are doing, because we are trying to train the person who is in the front seat. We're not trying to train the audience. And there's not enough video out there, or not enough real video, but also what Mental said. You're also not turning a wheel.
Yeah.
And you're not involved. You're, back in, oh God, I'm going to use my radio degree.
Check it out.
158 episodes, and for the first time, Jeff uses his radio degree. Yeah,
the television part. The brain waves that get used when you're watching something is less engaging than when you're playing. You use alpha and beta brain waves when you're playing a video game. You only get beta when you're watching.
Ooh, and everyone driving to work right now, I hope you pulled your feet back so that toes didn't get crushed when Jeff just dropped some knowledge.
It's like, this is also mental.
Yeah, where's he going?
Where are you going with this?
I'm tracking, dude. Jeff, I'm following everything you're saying, and I love it. Thank you. Yes, because you were involving different parts of your brain, which is how you cement knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next, I mean, this is the good stuff. Are you having fun?
Yes.
If
But you know what? I wouldn't do it with people I don't know.
I'm totally with you.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
If you hate iRacing and you hate everyone who does iRacing, the perfect place for you is the Monday night E1R racing.
I don't know. There were some ringers there on Monday.
Oh yeah,
Like,
we've got like
we had the
Shrevene
winners,
and Becker
right?
and
Santiago,
Santiago.
like all of the people
Uncle
that are like
Dave.
win.
And they talk smack like the rest of us, and they have a great time.
Oh, and they hit people just like they like
Just,
like
yeah,
Like the
bumper
rest of us?
cars, like the rest of us.
Like I can't remember what it was, but we were running an E1R race, and something happened, and we decided to get out of the race. Like I can't remember what it was, but the race still existed. So I went into it and I raced, and it just filled up with a bunch of people. I think we forgot to put the password on it or something. And I was like, I don't want to race with these people.
Was anybody talking?
They were talking. Of course, they were talking. Get out of my way! What are you doing?
No.
Oh yeah, no, they
Oh,
totally don't
no.
belong in our. They totally don't
Yes.
belong in our race.
That's why we have a password on it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think the equivalent of get out of the way is surprise. That's how we say get out of the way in our E1R race.
Seriously. Yeah, we just would say, "Who is that? It's me." We're like,
Or it's a lot of hey, sorry about that. Like really.
no,
That's
I don't think there was any sorries on Monday,
Well,
but
there's
okay.
definitely-
When I'm there, I usually apologize because I'm usually just driving right back on the track. Just
Usually
sorry,
your fault.
didn't see ya.
You know Eric's apologizing for everything.
It's true.
That's out there.
You're not wrong.
Well, and then and honestly, I find that like all the ringers that we bring in, your Slovenes, your Stanks, and your Santiagos are all like, oh yeah, sorry, I just lapped you for the 7th time. But if you at the same time, but if you use this marker or this reference, or here, I'll send you a setup for that Mercedes that you insist on running, even though everyone hates it. Mental, you'll be a little quicker. I've never come away from an E1R race session and not learned something.
Yeah,
It's a good
I have a
time.
good time.
That's
I definitely learned.
bold.
It's just a different way to hang out with your race car
It's
friends
true.
when you're at home.
In your living
Fact.
room,
Right.
Yes.
It's
There you
still a
go.
game.
but actually a VIR.
It's still a game
Still-
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Totally.
happens to be a game where I can learn a racetrack.
I think I try to convince myself that I'm better than I am. And then I feel like, hey, I'm doing pretty well. And then I spin and then I'm like, no, I'm not really doing very well.
Again, welcome to my entire life, Chrissy.
Mental mentioned it, and I know we're trying to wrap up here, but I just want to say that what I've learned is that these setups are way more important, almost as important as a real race car, because when I would get a setup from someone, I would all of a sudden be doing so much better or so much worse, depending on how that setup was affecting the way I was driving.
I think
So-
that's consistent with everybody.
they-
There's plenty of people that say like, hey, if we're going to run this car, I need something. Like they're just, you can't, unless
Well,
something
look at
else
what we
is
did with the
stuck.
legends. Like they
Yeah.
were from kind of tough to drive to sweethearts if you get the right setup in it.
Yeah, they still turn left when I brake. I don't know why.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mental.
So does the Honda.
And this is a great thing Chris was talking about early on. And actually, I think we had our iRacing episode. This is a great way to start understanding and learning suspension setups, is you can borrow setups from people, find those numbers, and then adjust those numbers, and you will begin to understand viscerally what they mean to the handling of the car. Because I still don't understand the math behind a suspension setup. But I know, if I move this number, it makes it way twitchier. Or if I move this number, it makes it way slower on the straightaway. So if you just do the practices, you got a couple hours to kill, you got nothing else to do, don't sit there and watch more Netflix. Get on your iRacing sim and start practicing by yourself on a track and messing with suspension settings. I'm not any better at suspension setups than I was years ago at NCM when Chris had to tell me, my God, how have you never done this? But
Sorry.
I understand it a lot more. No, it was an
totally,
educational.
I totally get that,
And I've talked about this before, Chris. It was as soon as I looked at you and said, I've just never done it, your approach to it changed, and you went, oh, and I learned so much that night watching, how we do this. Well, if you adjust this and just this. So it was, by admitting I'm stupid, and this is kind of one of my life lessons, by admitting I'm an idiot, I learn a lot. And that was one of those things. And that's an opportunity in iRacing is you can drive by yourself, get a setup from somebody you know and trust. I highly recommend Santiago. I highly recommend Uncle Dave. And they're gracious with all of their setups. And then you can start tweaking those numbers and understand how they got to those numbers.
But even in the Lemons community, in the Lemons Discord, they're trading setups constantly.
And Reddit too, as well. Yeah, Reddit's a great place to find some good setups.
We are running long. Reddit.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. We are running long, Chris, and I apologize because you're trying to keep us on topic.
I just wanted to say, let's just wrap it up with a quick top tip for someone starting off that you learned from what we've been doing.
Go ahead.
It's the same as real racing, folks. Just stop. Okay. If you're not 9 years old, you're not getting that professional contract. So just relax. It's supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And you'll find out as you have fun where you want to focus. Oh, I would really like to learn to drive these Formula Mazdas. So you're going to start learning how to drive open wheel. And if you want to pursue the license, which I don't think anyone else on this show has done, if you want to pursue the license, there's lots of opportunities, and there's going to be jerks, and there's going to be people that'll happily educate you, and find those people that'll talk to you and go through that. But also, like in real racing, okay, despite what Twitch tells you, you're never going to make any money doing this. Just stop that illusion. And I feel like if you're listening, you already understand that.
Yeah.
You're never going to make money.
That's not our listener base.
No.
Exactly. We have realist listeners, pragmatic listeners. There are no scouts in the stands. Get over yourselves. I have two very quick stories about this. I was trying to get one of my licenses. I was running the Formula 2000s at Road America. I was 17th out of 18 cars. And the 18th guy messages me in the middle of the race and says, I am reporting you to iRacing because I have video proof that you brake too much every time I get close to you. And I'm running an Oculus, so I don't get this message until the end. And I sent him an email. I said, you highly overestimate my skill, because if I had that level of skill, I wouldn't have been running 17th. And by the way, if you were better at this, you wouldn't have been behind me.
You wouldn't be at 18.
Awesome. And then another guy, I was running a Cadillac CTS V Cup at Road Atlanta. I took a hard hit into the wall, my own fault, and I'm limping it back to the pits because it takes like 3 minutes to get towed back to the pits. So I'm trying to limp it in there. I'm in the middle of the back straightaway, and a guy hits me at 160 and sends me no less than 19 messages, all of which like, I was winning. Why did you do that? And I'm thinking, I have a giant pink 50s styled Cadillac. How did you miss that in the middle of the straightaway?
You know what? If my arm could be out the window, I would be doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. And he like types in all caps, you will pay. Yeah, okay, pumpkin.
Where am I going? Where are you coming?
Okay, got
I'm going to reach through the screen and kick your ass.
I'm going to find you.
Yes, that was my plan. We've never met. I have a damaged car, but I've decided I'm going to ruin your day. Get over yourself. You're not that good. If you're not learning, you're not doing it right. Chris, Jeff, you had a joke.
I was just going to say, it's like the end of Jay and Silent Bob, where they spend all their money flying around the world, like beating up the people who talk badly about them in the forums. Are you Magnolia Lover 42875? Yes, I am. They grab him, they beat his ass.
And I am by no stretch of the imagination a tough guy, but I'm also by no stretch of the imagination a weak person. And if you do actually show up at my door, I've got a 90-pound dog, and I've got a lot of really big, mean friends. So yeah.
Come
Don't
find
bother,
me, bro.
That was a great quick tip.
Yeah, everything Mental said. Plus, I'm going to add, when you think you're good, join the California Clash.
Woo!
Get out there and join some of these things and realize, oh no, just because I beat my friend and Magnolia Lover 4287 does not mean I am any good at this. This is the only chance you're ever going to have to run with maybe some pro iRacers and some pro racers. And Uncle Dave found out, holy cow, all of a sudden I'm a back marker. And he's the best one at art.
Uncle Dave is phenomenal.
Yeah, and he's been doing this a long time.
He's awesome. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. And also practice. I think if you really want to be somewhere and you really want to be better and start going up, then practice. I know you said to do that, but like then get in. You can test race any day. You can just say practice this track, buy the tracks, buy different cars, figure out how to do it, and do something different than get a weird car in a track that you know, and then you can compare. But I think practice is it truly does make perfect with this one, I think. And I don't preach. I don't do the words I preach. So there.
I think don't worry about getting a great setup. Like some people say, oh, well, I don't want to get it now. I want to save up more for this and that, whatever. If you've got a computer that'll run it, give it a try. You know, if you're going to get something that's, you get something used like Mental did, get something that's good enough like Jeff and I did. You know, don't go crazy. You don't need the top of the line stuff for this, especially if you're just going to give it a shot and have fun with your friends. You're not a professional. You don't need professional quality gear. Just do something to have fun.
Yeah, you don't need a butt kicker, whatever the hell a butt kicker is.
Yeah.
I've listened to Tom Lamino talk about his butt kicker more often than I've heard him talk about his gosh darn VW.
Well, that's Tom.
You missed Monday's race
more
then.
Concerned with that. Yeah.
That's all we talked about on Monday.
Yes, I know. I was making fun of that.
Okay.
Do we know what the show is like tomorrow, next week?
Oh, don't we have a? We have.
Oh, we do. Sorry.
You're skipping a segment. Wow, it wasn't even Chrissy.
I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing?
Mental has something
with a road trip. I've got to catch up on a lot of my podcasts. One of my favorite Not Us podcasts is the Apex Adjacents. It's Ian and Dave out of Denver, Colorado, and they just did their 5-year anniversary. We missed our 3-year anniversary. It completely slipped past us. We are now 3 years and 2 weeks into this show.
Man.
And they did a great thing. Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to throw some reflective questions out there.
I was just say hella sweeter, but terrible, because Oliver Go writes about terrible. I mean, yeah.
So, favorite part of doing this and least favorite part of doing this, Chrissy, who is completely unprepared. Chris, what's your favorite part?
Seeing y'all more regularly. His favorite part. Least favorite part is losing my Wednesday evenings to do other stuff. This isn't on the spot. Got
so,
it.
my favorite part is, and Chrissy, I saw you're breathing, so I went for it. The fact that I think we have expanded our friend base way beyond the East Coast racers that we can hang out with. I don't think we would have the relationship with the Donnies or a lot of the West Coasters and a lot of the people that, we really don't talk to because they are rarely at our races.
People we've never actually don't even race with us, but we now know Santiago's and people like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we like Bill.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we've
take the brunt for that. Go on, Chrissy.
Is that the good part of the bad part? Just kidding, Bill. Just kidding. No, that is the best part. I think I agree with both of your best parts, and I think going and doing things, not just getting to know people, but I feel like doing more things like SEMA, like talking to people like Kathy, doing things that we wouldn't have done because we were racers and maybe we're good racers and maybe we win a race, but it's more of like we've done more than we would have in addition to meeting those people.
Yeah, Bill from Champ.
People like that.
Even though we knew him from when he was a Lemons person, staying in touch with him in a more serious way because he's running Champ now.
Things like that.
So I'm a Johnny come lately. I'm going to go with all you guys. I have met, the greatest thing I will probably have to apologize to my maker for is the amazing human beings I've met in my life, even before racing, even before this podcast. And this podcast, I would easily say, is just probably double the amount of just incredibly awesome people that I've been blessed enough to have come into my life. Sabrina McDaniel, she got a hold of us on Facebook, and we ended up swapping his 2 text messages. And I didn't realize who she was until Sunday when I'm packing up the RV. She came over and she brought her husband, who I'd flipped off 3 times on the track. So I'm sorry, Dan. He's joined us for some E1R Monday night races. He thought I was Corey, so he was deliberately kind of, having fun. And I'm like, I'm trying to race here, you jerk. But the Donnies, the Alexes, the Bills, the show would run another hour if we named every amazing person that we have met part of this show. So I will forever be grateful to all of that.
And someday we're going to fly to Europe.
My regret is that I don't get to. Absolutely. My regret is I don't get to give these people that. Yeah.
We're just struggling. We're trying to figure out.
The internet
go.
Not our friend this evening.
Just power through, man. Power through.
And my regret is I don't get to spend the time with these people that I truly want to. We've been really lucky with Bill and Alex and Donnie to actually get to know them personally. I got to know Corey and his whole amazing team out there. I wish I could spend more time with Sabrina. I wish I could spend more time with people that say, oh, I listened to your podcast. And so if I'm rude to you at a race weekend, I have my thanks and regret.
And someday we're going to fly to Europe and meet Erling.
Hell yeah, we are.
Okay.
And we're going to have beer.
And then we're going to go home. No, I'm just kidding.
Someday when they let us back in, because we're Americans, and we all got the Rona, according to them.
Yep.
Do we know what we're doing next week?
No.
No, we don't. We need to do a live show soon.
VIR wrap up. I don't know. Yeah.
We need to do a live show soon. We need to Ask Me Anything live show.
Okay.
Sometime.
When it gets cold and everyone's at home.
It's true. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. I see that you're playing with my text. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page or right down there in the doodly-doo. Chrissy, in the doodly-doo. It's below us. That's where the YouTube comments go, in the doodly-doo. If you have any questions or show ideas, hit us at Everyone Racers. Email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Or, this is new, text us. 484-243-0455. We will put that number in the notes. And it is going to go to Mental's phone, so you can annoy Mental. Because of the Rona, my office phone is going here, and I had to turn off the E1R text messages. We're stealing bits from Apex Adjacent Podcast. Find us on Instagram or Twitter us at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless it's all just leaking oil like RLS. Then just keep the greasy side down.